Hey, we're live. It's on YouTube, but it's an easy way to record it. But anyways, what I got here is I'm demoing how to synchronize your telescope mount and Sky Safari, and it's a pretty easy process. Basically here I have this is just a 4-inch telescope on a SynScan Orion ASIQ-5 mount. So I'm going to go and start it up. Just press the on button. Okay, and it's initializing. Equatorial mode. Warning not to look at the sun. Then it's asking for latitude and longitude. We don't have to really worry about that now because of when you synchronize, it automatically picks up your latitude and longitude and your time. So I'm just bypassing it. And right now, it thinks it's 8 o'clock p.m. and I'm going through all the prompts and I'm skipping alignment. Okay, so now I just put it on the object menu and I'm going to share the screen with the Sky Safari on my phone. So let's see how this works. And there's my phone. And in a second, Sky Safari comes up. It says it's a failure, but now we're going to connect again. And it's popped up the scope and it's looking down in the ground. And that's just a startup thing that happens. And as soon as I give it an up arrow, we're right at the North Pole, the North Star, really, which is where it tries to go to, right? On initial startup in equatorial mode, right? So I'm going to hang up the hand controller for a second and show you what you can do. I minimized it so we don't see the telescope bar. And oops, there we go. Okay, and what I've got here is I've got the show list button. And up here, I have a list of like carbon stars that are interesting to look at. So the first one I'm going to start looking at is the famous Garnet star. And I hit center. And on the screen, you show, yep, it's popping up to the Garnet star. And now I hit the telescope button. I hit lock. And that sends the screen over to the current position of the scope. And I can zoom in or out if I want. And then I just press the go to button and you can see the telescope behind me is moving. And as it's moving, it's sweeping across the sky and it's going to end up at the Garnet star. And it overshoots a little bit and then comes back because it knows how to minimize backlash among the gears. And there we are. And now, if I had an observing list up and I wanted to show a group of people what I said, hey, what's up? I hit selection, object info, and up comes a whole screen of information about the Garnet star. So I could be paging through this at the same time and reading some of it, but they can also see some of it themselves. And here it's got the different coordinate information, the visibility, the motion, everything you typically find in Sky Safari. And there's also, you can see also the go-to buttons highlighted down there. Now, if I want to go to the next item on my specific list, I just hit select next item. And they're populated, I think, in terms of rise time. And I can do a couple of things. One, I could just go to the object info screen. And then from that, I can hit go to. and then you'll see it sweep across the sky. We're going to enable the lock mode, and there you can see it flying across. And it's settled on UU Aurigay. Now let's try to find something else. Let's try to look at I don't know, tonight's best objects. Oh, here's M31, the Andromeda Galaxy. Well, how about the double cluster? Let's look at the double cluster. Wow, that's a great picture. This is what it looks like. I could turn the phone. Well, I guess I don't have rotation enabled, but I could turn the phone to the tablet and they can see a real good observatory picture. And then we can talk about that a little bit. Somebody will say, how far is that? And it'll say, oh, that's 2.1 kiloparsecs or 6.8 thousand light years. And then while I'm in that screen, I could hit go to, and up pops it. It's popping over the meridian backwards. And right, there we go over the meridian, I'm sorry. And then we're going to Andromeda. Now notice in Sky Safari, I've got a list of objects. Those are all the carbon stars I initially wanted to look at, and they're all highlighted on the screen. So I could be hopping over them, but of course I can select any other object I want to. And we're looking at the double cluster, and it's settled on them. And the outer blue ring is showing the field of view through this telescope with the 24 millimeter zoom all the way out, and the inner is an 8 millimeter. So if I use a zoom eyepiece, it goes from 8 to 24, then I can pretty instantly see what's covered by the 8 and what's covered by the 24. And there's also kind of like, right, there's enabled are like, you know, directional keys that you can go left and right and up and down. It's in equatorial mode, so the direction that it's going is indicated by the crosshairs on the object, not the direction from the horizon to the zenith. And then interestingly enough, there's another crazy mode that they have that, I don't know, I got a charge out of this, but if you go to setup in your telescope, you can actually enable the tilt to slew mode. And now there's a little 4 button, and it says when I turn it flat. Now, if I tilt the screen, I tilt it up, and you can see, let me see, go to lock. Right. You can see how fast it's slewing. And if I tilt it down, then I can go up or down or. But, you know, this is kind of a cool video game kind of mode. And I thought it was cool when I first started playing with it. But honestly, the most useful mode is just simply the go-to mode. And if you tap the screen in this mode, it stops. And I can hit go-to and it'll just pop back to wherever I was, okay? Now, I'm going to go back to settings. I'm going to disable the tilt to slew option. You notice up here it says set time and location, save log file, and connect via Bluetooth. So this works either by Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, and there's modules that are both available both ways. So let's take a look at if we're locked on and we zoom into where the scope is. Scope has encoders, and if I move the scope, the indicated position should shift if the scope's moving right. Now look at that. So, you know, it knows where it's positioned. And then I just hit go to, and it's going to go right back to Andromeda, you know. Oh, well, it wasn't Andromeda. It was HD 232599 because I must have touched something on the screen. But, you know, for example, there's VW Cassiopeia star. Yep. And we're settling in. And then we tilt the scope. Who knows where the heck it's pointed now? And I just hit go to. Oh, look, there's M31. Just missed it. There's Andromeda. Okay, let's go there. If you see it on the screen, if you see it, you can touch it and get there. All right. Well, I don't know. Suppose I get bored with my list and I'm looking around and I say, well, what about, oh, Jupiter's up. So we hit Jupiter. And yes, there's a lot of information. And I can just press the go to button again from Jupiter. There we go. We can see it swinging across the sky. Now, normally the sky on the Sky Safari is blue to indicate that it's daylight. But, you know, for its demonstration purpose, I turned off the daylight. So obviously this is a daylight view, right? But if I'm not quite synced up, I just hit it in again. And there's the satellites. You can see what the satellites are doing. The other thing that's kind of interesting is it doesn't really matter if I'm using the hand control on this scope or if I'm using the hand control on the paddle. All right, and let's see how far we're off. Yeah, we're a bit off Jupiter. And then I hit go to, and we're back to Jupiter. But if somebody were to bump the scope, again, we're off. I can hold up the paddle and let me see what I'm doing here. Okay. Go back to Sky Safari. I'll just click the planet key and I'll bump down to Jupiter. Hit the enter key. And it says, do I want to view object? And yes, I do. So it's going to Jupiter. But it's still on the screen. And we're all going to end up at the same spot. Let's zoom in and see how far off we are. Coming back. Yep, we're at Jupiter. Now, suppose, let's move this up, move the scope a little bit. Suppose for some reason, I'm a little bit off. I'm really not synchronized. So I'll click on Gamma Pisces and say, hey, let's synchronize on that. I'll hit align. You want to align on Gamma Pisces. So if the scope was off, I could synchronize in a local area. But it's not liking that because I'm kind of pretty far off. So I can sync. Let's try another star. That's actually, and I'm going to hit align, which I think is an asteroid. Oh, okay. Okay, well, we'll just move it a little bit. Now see if it aligns it. Yep, too far from the actual position. So you can realign. But usually you got to be within probably within a half a degree or something like that. There. So now we're aligned to actually an asteroid. So that's kind of the cool stuff you can do with it. I mean, you could put it on night mode and now everything's red. Take it off night mode. But anyways, that's it in a nutshell. That's synchronizing it with the Sky Safari and using the scan, basically the module was a scan BT module. Let's show you what that looks like up front. No, that's me, you don't want to see that. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Okay, and it's actually was made by someone in Eastern Europe, Ukraine, and they're still available. I've got some coming on the way, right? So, and that's all I got. So, thanks, and hope this is pretty informative for everybody. And see you later, gang. Bye-bye. Okay. Bye.